Alright boys and girls, I hope you're having a lovely day, okay? Today lads, I want to talk about the PS3 and why I think it's the perfect time to collect for this system. Now for those who don't know, I absolutely adore the PS3, okay? I got the PS3 for my birthday like a long time ago, and I just adored it because it was just such a perfectly amazing console. By the time I got a PS3, it had already been out quite a while, okay? I had the PS2 for ages, I couldn't afford the PS3 when it first came out, so by the time I got round to getting one, all the games were just super cheap, and I just loved that.
Give me the cheapskate!
Hey, I ain't cheap!
I remember when I first went into CEX for the first time, that was around about the time I had the PS3, and I just could not believe the prices in CEX, okay? Everything was just so much cheaper than I could ever imagine. You would go in and you would find games like £1 and £2, and I just couldn't believe it, you know, because I was used to like Game and stuff where like the cheapest games you could probably get were like £8 to £10, and I just loved those years when I first got the PS3 and I would just collect games on the cheap, and it was just brilliant. It was so much fun, and I played so many incredible games during that generation, okay? It was just like, it was banger after banger. I played so many amazing gems. So yeah, I thought I'd spend today just sort of going through some PS3 games and just sort of talking about the collecting side of things. And this is something I do terribly often on the channel, okay? But I want to go through some like cheap games that you guys can pick up if you like PS3 collecting, but also some of the like pricier games that maybe you should get now before they go up even more. Before we do that, lads, I also thought we'd like go through a few of the pickups I've done recently, okay? You know, I've been buying some PS3 games lately because I'm just, you know, I'm trying to get the PS3 games whilst they're cheap. I've got most of the PS3 games I want at this point, but every now and again I see something that I'm like, okay, I want to get that game, and again, 9 times out of 10 it's super cheap because the PS3 is just, it's ridiculously cheap. And it also goes without saying as well, lads, a lot of these games are on the Xbox 360, so if you are a 360 collector, then a lot of these games you can get on that console, and sometimes they're even cheaper. Not to mention the fact that like backwards compatible as well a lot of times, so you know, it might be even better for you 360 collectors. But anyway boys, let's go through a few of these recent pickups, okay? And we're starting off with maybe not like the best game, but you know, I just bought it because it was super cheap, and that game is going to be Star Wars: The Clone Wars Republic Heroes. I mainly bought this game because I'm going to be doing like a big Star Wars video coming up maybe in a couple months time. I want to go through and just play as many different Star Wars games as I possibly can, okay? And I thought this could be a good one to check out. I don't think it's like the best Star Wars game in the world, but I don't know, maybe it'll be a bit of an underrated gem. Next game here, lads, is one that I have never played and I know very little about, but it looks really good and it was super cheap, and that is Dead to Rights Retribution. I went to the town Taunton a couple of weeks ago. It was like a couple of hours away from where I live, and they had a retro game store there, and they just had like tons of like games in there. They also had like a lot of collectibles and stuff. I can't remember the name of the shop now, but yeah, this was like £4 in there, and I thought, you know what, I've never played this game, it looks good, and I just sort of bought it on a whim. It looks like my kind of game, you know, it looks pretty cool in the back there. I don't know if you guys can see that, and I mean, at £4 you can't really go wrong, and this is what I'm talking about with the PS3. Like, now is the time to collect for it because these games are just so cheap, and I can't imagine it will stay that way. The next one here I bought, lads, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think it's meant to be the best game in the world, okay, and that's gonna be Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. I think this is meant to be a bit of a bad game, but I just kind of wanted it because I kind of want to collect as many, if not all, of the Resident Evil games I can. I think I might actually just go for a full Resident Evil set. I'm not 100% sure yet because there's a lot of Resident Evils and some of them are super expensive. There's one on the Game Boy Color that's like £110. I don't know if I want to buy that one.
How much is this?
149, sir.
I've got 50p. Fuck you.
But I at least want to pick up every cheap Resident Evil game, okay? And this was like £8, so it's not super expensive. Again, I don't think it's meant to be that great, but we'll give it a shot. I'll see if it's good or not. Okay then, boys, the next one I picked up recently is going to be Persona 4 Arena. I recently played Persona 4 Dancing and absolutely adored it. I thought it was an incredible spin-off, and I saw this one in CEX, so I think it was like £10, so it's not like super cheap, but it's also not expensive at all. And again, I just really enjoyed Persona 4 Dancing. I love, of course, base Persona 4, so I just want to sort of get as many like Persona spin-offs as I can, because they usually do a pretty good job with the spin-offs. And the final pickup, lads, that I did recently was Terminator Salvation for the PS3. No idea if this is good or not. It might be absolutely terrible, but yeah, I just sort of picked it up. It was like a £3 game or something, so it's super duper cheap. And I've got to be honest, I don't really love the movie. I did not enjoy the movie one bit. I like Terminator 1 and Terminator 2. Those two are just goated. Everything after that is a little bit shit, but yeah, who knows, boys, maybe the game is good. I don't know though. So yeah, that's all of my pickups recently, lads, for the PS3 at least. Again, all of those games are pretty damn cheap. They're all like £10 or less, so yeah, they were fun to pick up. But next I want to go through some like slightly more expensive games. These are some games that I just think are going to go up in price, okay? They're expensive now, but in like 10 years time I think they'll be really expensive, so now might be the time to get them. We're going to kick things off here, boys, with Afro Samurai for the PS3. This is currently £18 at CEX. I picked this game up for £6, and that was only a couple years ago. When I did pick this up at £6, that was actually a really good price at the time. It was more like a £10 games when I bought it. it. But yeah, I think £18 right now. I can only imagine this one keeps going up in price. And this next one here, boys, I'm not gonna lie, is really expensive. It's my most expensive game in my PS3 collection by far, and that is gonna be Godzilla for the PS3. I ordered this one recently because I'm gonna be doing like a massive Godzilla game video, obviously like to celebrate the Godzilla X Kong movie that's coming out. So I wanted to get as many Godzilla games as I could, so I wanted to add this one to the collection, and I only picked this game up like a couple weeks ago. It's already gone up in price though. When I bought this game, it was £125. It's now £135, and it's only been a couple of weeks, so I feel like this one could keep going up. So yeah, I know it's an expensive one, lads, but if you're a Godzilla fan, you might want to get this one before it's too late. Okay, this next one, lads, is a little bit crazy, okay, because this used to be a super cheap game, and now it's like pretty damn expensive, okay, and that is going to be Spec Ops: The Line. This game was like a £5, £4 game at one point, and now it's £28 at CEX.
Damn.
I'm pretty sure the reason for that is that it was removed from like the store recently. I think there was some like licensing problems, so if you want to play this game, you kind of have to get it physically now. And I will admit, lads, £28 for this game is honestly probably worth it because it's a freaking incredible game. Okay, Spec Ops: The Line is super underrated. But yeah, my advice for this one, lads, is maybe look out in like some local charity shops or car boots. I feel like this one isn't that rare, so you might be able to find it. It is also slightly cheaper on the 360, so if you want to get it for slightly cheaper and you've got a 360, then maybe that's a better option. But yeah, one way or another, lads, you should play this game. I know it's expensive, but it is really good. Alright then, boys, this next one, I actually think I kept the receipt for it. I did keep the receipt, okay, so I can actually tell you exactly how much I paid for it. I bought a couple of other games as well. What else did I buy? I bought Silent Hill on the PS1. That's an expensive one. That cost me 70 quid. I bought Onimusha 2 and 3. And I bought The Quarry on PS5. But yeah, I bought this game for £15, okay, and that is X-Men Origins Wolverine. I checked the CEX website today, and I'm pretty sure this game is £25, so it's gone up by £10 since I bought it. And that wasn't that long ago. It was only maybe like a year and a half ago. So yeah, this has already gone up in price, and again, I imagine it will go up in like a lot more because this is a really good game. The movie it's based upon is freaking terrible, okay? X-Men Origins Wolverine is an awful movie, but for some reason the game is absolutely amazing. Like, it's actually one of the best like superhero movie games ever. So yeah, if I were you, lads, if you're an X-Men fan, then you should get this game before it's too late, because I could see this one going up to like £30–40 over the next few years. Okay, boys, this next one is a bit of a weird one, okay, because when I bought it, it was like I bought it for quite a lot of money, and then it went down in price, and I was like, oh, okay, that's quite surprising, but then it went back up in price afterwards. So yeah, the price for this one has been fluctuating over the last few years, okay, but the game I'm talking about is Killer Is Dead. I haven't got around to playing it yet, so I don't know if it's actually any good or not, but yeah, it keeps going up and down in price. It's a bit weird. It's currently going for £22 at CEX, but I honestly think it will over the next few years go up more. It's just a bit of a weird and obscure title, and I just feel like it will go up in price eventually. So yeah, if this is something that would interest you, I would get it now. Alright, boys, this next one has been going up in price a lot, okay? I got this game, I think I got it at the beginning of the pandemic. I was having a massive PS3 kick, and I really wanted to add it to my collection, and I think I got it at a perfect time, okay? Because this game is a lot more money than what I paid for it. And that game I'm talking about is Lollipop Chainsaw, okay? So when I bought this game, it was about £18, I think. Now it's £48.
That's a lot of money.
But yeah, I will say, lads, this is a really good game. I know it's an expensive one, okay? £50 is nothing to be sniffed at, okay? That's a lot of money for a video game, but it's really good, okay? I would honestly say it's worth that money. It's just such a unique game. There's nothing quite like it. And again, it's one of those ones that I just feel like will go up in price even more. So again, maybe now is the time to get it. Alright, this next one, lads, I actually managed to find really cheap. I got it from... I can't remember where it was now. I actually forgotten, but I'm pretty sure I paid about £10 for it. It might have been less than that, actually. It might have been like £8. And that game is Twisted Metal. This game is now £15 at CEX, so it's I managed to get it for a really good price. I won't lie, it's not my absolute favorite game. I'm really terrible at it. Like, I just find this game really hard for some reason. But if you're into like, I don't know, vehicular combat types of games, then honestly, Twisted Metal, it doesn't really get much better. It's a really weird and dark and twisted game when it comes to like the story and stuff. So yeah, I would recommend it if that's your type of game. I really struggle with it though. I'm just not very good at this. Alright, boys, this next one I did actually keep the receipt for, okay, and I only paid £22 for it, okay, so I got this game for a really good price, and this was from CEX. The game I'm talking about is Alice Madness Returns. This game is currently going for £35 at CEX, okay, so I got this game at the perfect time. I bought this maybe a couple years ago, and I've played through it, and honestly, it's a really good game. It's really unique, it's really bizarre and weird, and yeah, it's a little bit crazy, but again, it's one of those games that I just feel like will continue to go up in price. The fact that it's already gone up by £12 like over the last few years, I think sort of tells enough that you should maybe get this game now. And the final game I want to talk about here, lads, is going to be Sly Cooper for the PS3. And once again, lads, I did keep the receipt, okay, so let's check the receipt and see how much I paid for it. I paid £40 for it. Okay, so this game's gone up by £10. This game is now £50 at CEX.
Yeah, he's done it again. He's done it again. That is a fact. Fucking little.
And again, I did buy this one from CEX, so the fact it's gone up by £10, and I only bought this one like, I mean, it wasn't that long ago. I can't actually remember when it was, but it was no more than a year and a half ago. And I feel like a lot of like the HD collections on PS3 are going to go up in price, okay? So again, now is maybe a good time to get this one. And also, I mean, Sly Cooper is really good, okay? You can't go wrong with these games. Okay then, boys, so that's all the like expensive stuff I wanted to highlight. Again, I feel like all of these are going to go up in price over the next few years, so just keep an eye on them, you know, keep an eye on those prices and get them when you can. But I understand not a lot of people want to splash out hundreds of pounds on games, okay? Some of you guys want to see some of that cheap stuff, and that's certainly what I enjoy about collecting, is finding those cheap, underrated gems, okay? So I've got a massive stack here of games that are all really cheap. Each one of these games is either £5 or less, okay? I've played every single one of these games here, and I can vouch for all of them. They're all really good, and they've aged really well. So yeah, let's go through them then, boys, okay? We're going to start off with Stranglehold. This is just really fun, okay? You can get this game for £1.50, so I mean, it's really cheap, okay? But it's super duper fun. If anyone's ever watched Hard Boiled, it's actually meant to be a sequel to that movie, and it's pure chaos. It sort of plays similar to like Max Payne, and yeah, it's a really fun one. The next one we got here, boys, is going to be Dead Space. Now, obviously, there is the remake that you could go out and buy, but honestly, I don't really see the point in buying that remake. I didn't end up buying the remake because I just didn't really see the point in it. Like, there's nothing wrong with this version here, and you can buy this for like £4. It's super cheap. There's no point like spending £30 to £40 on a remake when there's nothing wrong with the original. So yeah, if you want to get this on the cheap, then yeah, get the PS3 version. Okay then, boys, this next one is going to be a bit of an interesting choice, but honestly, I really love this game, and I don't really understand the hate that it gets. And that game is going to be Kane and Lynch 2. I really think this game is a special game, okay? It's super unique. Alright, yeah, the gameplay's not the best, and it is really short, but there's honestly nothing quite like it when it comes to the atmosphere of this game, okay? It's really dark, and it's just dripping in dread, and it's just so unique, boys. It's super short and super cheap, so get this game and play it, lads. Believe me, it's really underrated. Okay, then, lads, next up we got a game that I played, I think last year I actually played for the first time, okay, and that's gonna be Crysis 2. This game looks phenomenal, like graphics wise, and it plays super well. It's just a really good first-person shooter. You can also pick up Crysis 3 on the PS3, and that game is also super cheap. But yeah, both of those games are fantastic. This next one I actually bought last year, and this cost me literally £1, and it was like the best pound I ever spent on a video game, okay, and that is gonna be Lost Planet. I love this game. I honestly think this is one of Capcom's best games. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I think this one is like £1.50 at CEX, so it's so cheap, lads, okay? So if you want a cheap, underrated game, it doesn't get much better than Lost Planet. Alright, this next one, that has one of the best stories in video games. Like, if you just want a good story, you can't really get much better than this one, okay? And that's gonna be Mafia 2. Really good story here, boys. I mean, the gameplay's good, but it's all about the story with this one, okay? The story is incredible. Alright, this next one, lads, I actually decided to replay this year. I'd already played it, but I decided to replay it again, and that's gonna be Star Wars The Force Unleashed, and you can also get the second one as well for super cheap. The second one is just not quite as good as the original, though. Yeah, if you just want to play a Star Wars game where I've got like overpowered force abilities, this game right here, okay? It does not get better than this game if that's what you're looking for. Alright then, boys, this next one is literally £1.50 at CEX, and it blows my mind because it's just so good, okay? And that's gonna be Far Cry 3. It's the best Far Cry by far. It has the best story, it has the best characters, it has the best gameplay. It is just the perfect Far Cry game, okay? Don't worry about any other Far Cry game, like there's no point playing them. Just play Far Cry 3, because it has everything. This next one, lads, honestly, I think is a little bit underrated. I've actually got this nice cool steelbook of this game. I don't know how much the steelbook would go for, but just a regular version of this game is like, it's like £2 or something, so it's really cheap. And that's gonna be Alien vs Predator. I honestly really enjoyed this game back in the day. I haven't played it in a really long time, but I would like to revisit it. Basically, you've got like 3 different campaigns on here. So you've got like the human campaign, where you play as like the humans, obviously, and then you can play as the aliens, and then you can also play as the Predator. All 3 of the campaigns are fantastic, though. I heard a lot of people say that they didn't really like the Alien campaign, but honestly, back in the day, I enjoyed the Alien one. I had no problem with it, and the Predator one is probably my favorite. So if you're an Alien fan or a Predator fan, you should definitely get this one. Next up, lads, we've got a game that is again super cheap. I think you can get this game for like £2 at CEX, okay, and that's gonna be Prototype. Just one of the most fun games. Like, you literally just have all these different abilities, and you just fuck people up. Like, it's so fun. This game also does have a pretty decent story as well, but for me, it's all about that gameplay, boys. It does not get more fun than Prototype.
Yeah, this is fun.
The next game here, lads, is one that I played I think I played it about a year and a half ago, and that's gonna be South Park: The Stick of Truth. One of the funniest video games ever made, okay? This game had me crying with laughter at times. It's so funny, like, and on numerous occasions as well. You really can't go too far wrong with some South Park humor, okay? It might be a little bit immature at times, but fucking hell, it's funny, okay? And this game is basically a season of South Park in a video game, okay? It's hilarious. Okay, boys, the next one we got here is gonna be GTA 4. Now, this might be a bit controversial, but I honestly think this is probably the best GTA game ever made. It's probably not necessarily my favorite GTA, because this game right here, if you guys can see the background, GTA 3 I had a lot of nostalgia for as a kid, so that's probably my favorite GTA. But if we're just talking about the best one, I mean, GTA 4 is definitely up there. Right then, lads, the next game I want to talk about is going to be Mirror's Edge. This is a game that's really short. Like, this, you can beat this game in like 3 hours tops, but the gameplay here, lads, is just so ridiculously fun, and it's also really replayable. You can easily replay this game numbers of times and just still have fun with it. I will admit the story is a little bit like I could take it or leave it. It's not the best story in the world, but if we're just talking gameplay here, boys, it's so fun, okay? It's basically like a first-person parkour game. Yeah, it's really good and super cheap. Okay, lads, the next game I got here is a little bit of an underrated one. I'd very rarely hear people talk about it, but I honestly think it's really good. I've played it a couple times, and that is gonna be Wet. And yeah, this is a fantastic game. If you guys can imagine the movie Kill Bill as a video game, it would probably look something like this. Yeah, it's just a really fun third-person shooter. You can like slice people up with katanas. It's just fun. Like, it's just a fun shooting game, so you can't really go too wrong with that one. And then finally, lads, this one I actually played very recently and had an absolute blast with it, okay? And that is Max Payne 3. I adore Max Payne 3, and you can get this game for literally £5. It doesn't get better, though. Max Payne 3 is one incredible shooter with an insane story, and yeah, it's a really magical game, lads. So if you have not played Max Payne 3, you absolutely must play it.
Can I tell you something? I love it.
Okay then, boys, I think that about does it, okay? I've talked about some cheap PS3 games, I've talked about some expensive ones, but yeah, just the PS3 in general is a fantastic console, and I think you should just collect for it, okay? Expensive or cheap, you can't really go wrong. So yeah, that about does it, lads. I guess the last thing I want to say is let me know in the comments what are some of your favorite PS3 games, okay? I'd love to hear like some PS3 or 360 games that you guys enjoyed. I think this generation of gaming was really, really amazing, so yeah, just let me know some games that I maybe should check out or you guys just enjoy. Other than that though, lads, subscribe here if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one, alright? Peace.